Welcome to Magnet Marketers, our weekly live show where we break down the head, heart, and hand approach to building sustainable growth in your business. During each episode, we share actual client marketing best practice examples, strategies, and tactics that will help you generate real results. Our belief? A magnet always works better than being a bullhorn to attract, retain, and build your brand. Ready to dive into this week's Relationship Marketing Training Tuesday? Well, let's get started. Here's your host, Mike Gingerich and Jessika Phillips. Yay, 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 yay. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy Training Tuesday. And today I'm excited because this marks the official 2-week countdown. 2 weeks, guys. It's for real, like really getting real. Countdown to a Social Media Week Lima 21. And with me today, I have my awesome co-host, as always, Mike Gingerich, and a good friend, Brian Fanzo, that we'll introduce here in a moment if you've not met him before. But before we do the intros to both of these gentlemen, if we've not met before, hello, my name is Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System. And my personal mission is to help you love more, give more, and be more through the art of authentic relating. Just happen to use some relationship marketing to help you do some of that. My co-host, if you've not met him, this is Mike Gingerich. He's an awesome co-host and president of web development and software firm Digital Hill Multimedia. He's a published author 5 times over, triathlete, runner, biker, and leading business blogger at MikeGingerich.com. Also, fresh out of vacation. How's it going, Mike?
Yes, I am doing well, and you're doing the post-vacation kind of reorientation, of course, but had a good time off there, and blew through Brian's state there. I went through Virginia, got it down to North Carolina anyway, then back up, and man, I-95, Brian, wow, got to stay away from that thing, isn't it?
Yeah, stay away, far away. I'm on the other side. I stay away.
All right. Yes, I'm doing well, and super excited to have Brian with us today. So let me just give you, for those who don't know, I'll just go a little background in there and tell you about our guest today. Brian Fanzo is a digital futurist keynote speaker who translates the trends of tomorrow to inspire change today, offering customized, personalized programs showcasing real-world stories and examples of forward-thinking people and businesses. Teaches companies of all sizes, and he's been at Social Media Week Lima multiple times over and is coming back again this year. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here, and love that intro video. And I'm not coming off of vacation, but I feel like I'm coming. It's like the phase back into reality. Post pandemic. So I stay away from 95, no doubt. But excited to come up to the event again this year. It is kind of like a staple on my calendar, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I was trying to remember how many years it's been. Like I was talking last week with Kathy Hackle. She gave you a huge shout out.
Yeah.
By the way,
I watched the whole episode. That was a great episode.
Oh, did you? Okay, good. Yeah.
Yes.
So very similar, digital futurist, right? She's amazing. And but I was trying to remember how many times you've been at Lima. Has it been like 6, 7?
6. I think this will be 6. This will be the 6th.
Okay, yeah, because you were there for UNOH the other time.
Yep. The UNOH. Yeah, I posted it in the Facebook group, the photo from the UNOH one, which I thought it's cool. It came up on my feed, and I was like, man, how much has changed? So yeah, but it's been fun every time. It's been a different layer of fun, but also for me, it's like I love supporting what you're doing, Jessika, but also they're just like the vibe and the energy and the people in the audience, like how many of them lives have changed. I've got to see them over year, right? Some of them have turned into some of my good friends, and it's all from that event. So excited to be back again.
And that's why we wanted to make this a topic for today. So we say Training Tuesday, magnet marketers, right? How to be a magnet versus a bullhorn in marketing. That's what the MO is of the show. And so not to use this just as a promotion for Social Media Week Lima, but really the power that it has, one, to make those connections and why it's so important to attend some of these trainings that can really help up-level you as an individual or as an organization. I know we do have for Social Media Week Lima, for anyone that does not know what this event is, hopefully you do. Hopefully you're sharing this too. By the way, I'm going to put out there, we can put in the comments too, anyone that does share this event, I am going to be giving away a free ticket to the event for those that are sharing it and talking about it, because I do feel like the purpose of people there is that it's power in what you can get out of this 2-day event. It's not just me saying it. I've really been really inspired, not just with what Kathy shared last week. She said, this helped her get her dream job. She was speaking there. She made some connections. People reached out and tweeted for her saying, like, this is an amazing person. You need to check her out, because we all are just separated. Was it like the 3 pixels of separation? I think it's called. We all have connections to anyone and everyone that we want to get connected to just by who we meet and connect with. But also the information that's being shared, if we try to get out of an event what we want and we're intentional in how we show up, it can really transform your life. Like this was a week and a half ago, Jenna, shout out to her. Congrats, Jenna from Beyond Laser Creations, on winning the entrepreneur contest, by the way, in Fostoria, Ohio. She won because her brand has just done amazing things, but she credits the event. She went to a live video with me in our group, Social Media Week Lima Facebook community group, and credits the event for inspiring her to kind of take those next steps and knowing how to pivot. During 2020, her business wasn't doing what she needed it to do. She was doing photography and stuff at the time, but she didn't quit. She didn't give up. She took some of the lessons that she learned, found out how to apply those to something she really enjoyed doing, and then took action on it. And then she used the relationships and things that she had formed during the event to truly launch her brand. And now she's our swag bag provider. She's our partner for the event, sponsor, and we could not be more thankful for that, and could not be more thankful to bring her back and then hear her story and how this all transpired too.
Awesome. Yeah.
So somebody says, yes, Brian connected me to you. I'm assuming this is Julia. Leave my dream job at Now Marketing Group. Julia's amazing. Yeah, like the power of connection, right? Like that's what it's about. And Mike, I know you and I actually met at a different event. Well, actually both of us, Brian, I don't think we met at the event itself. We met online, and then I met in person with you at Social Media Marketing World. But Mike, I had met him specifically at Social Media Marketing World on our way to the Natural History Museum. We were just reminiscing about this a little bit ago, but there was like seats open, and there was only a couple, and I'm like, hey, can I sit by you? And he's like, okay, sure. And we ended up having this great conversation on the way to the Natural History Museum. Ended up staying connected because we were talking about our, more than just our business, but we were talking about what we were working on next, and ended up still checking in on each other and seeing how things were going. And then those conversations turned to a friendship, to now, a partnership on magnet marketers and more like cheerleaders for each other. And it goes beyond just business. It's also in life. I think all of us have made those connections on cheering each other through the good and being there for the bad too. So there's power in having those connections during that time.
Yeah, and I would say just from a, for me being, I remember the first year going to the event like to support you, and then the second year, seeing how it not only it grew, but for me it was like that third year when people were coming back and kind of sharing their stories. And I will say, like, in a weird way, I think there's a lot of us that ask, maybe we only share the experiences of success of our current clients, right? But I feel like the thing that event has had for me is really been able to hear stories of, really pivoting before pivoting was forced upon us last year, right? Like, I feel like I could mention 10 businesses that I know from your event that were talking about pivoting that they had done long before 2020, right? I think when we're thinking about like what is the value you get at events, I think even just being able to listen to stories, some of the the success stories, some of the people that said, I came here thinking it was for this, right? They were one of your clients, or even I think that's the other part that's been really cool, is to hear clients talk about things that they've done, like based on like, hey, this worked when we moved our website this way, and now all of a sudden it's impacting this part of the business. You don't get a lot of that at a lot of events. And I don't know, I mean, maybe it's the Midwestern hospitality, maybe it's that Ohio love. Like there is something about your event that I feel like when I leave, I have use cases that I can bring up in podcasts on stages to reference for clients that really are in depth. They're unique. You know, I use, went from a water bottle company that I once talked about with 50 Strong to like good friends of mine, to where I reference them on a regular basis. And that was the very first event, right? We were both speaking there, and then became friends. And even like their pivot, I was on a call, I think a week ago, and I brought them up on how they went to Amazon and how they're using Amazon from Walmart. And I will tell you, like, I go to a lot of events, and I would say I probably use more event use cases from your event than I do any other event altogether.
It's real. It's real.
That's true.
That's the key. And Mike, I know you're having a conversation even with students too about the future, which I want to hear you talk about here in a second. But back to what you just said, Brian, and one thing about the event that you can expect is that this is not something you're going to get in a blog post or a YouTube video, because the people that we pick to speak, one, I'm very, very, very big on having heart-centered, true, like visionary type people, but also somebody that's going to share like the real, because this is the theme of the event this year. By the way, there's a theme every year. The theme of the event this year is Unfiltered. And what that means is how to build community in a dark social world. But what it truly means is that people already know what you're about. They're already talking about the inbox. They're already sharing it. I just was having this conversation earlier before jumping on here with Julia. They already know truly like the truth of a brand, whether they're good or not, what's really going on behind the scenes. As much as we think that we can portray an image one way and that everybody's just seeing that, people know the real deal. And the beauty in being unfiltered is that you can still present yourself in a way of saying like, hey, we're having a hard time right now, and this is what I went through, and here's how I've pivoted. So like Brian Kramer came on, shared a beautiful story of his pivot, a beautiful story of how he realized like his agency wasn't doing well. So, he had to get real with himself, and then ended up creating this amazing like coaching company and community for human to human. Just adore that guy. Angus Nelson, same thing with him. Jeff Howe came on, shared his story. And even Ashley Thompson was sharing her story of how being an attorney and growing this business. There's power in when we always use this word authenticity and vulnerability and all these buzzwords. That's one thing to use it, but another thing to mean it, and people can tell the real. And when you can share the real about here's where we were at, and this is the truth. Here's where I was at. It was not always beautiful, but here's how I got to this other level by sitting in that, feeling it, and then positioning myself to know that I have grit. I'm going to get out of it one way or another, but I have to be open to saying this is part of my story and this is who I am. And then others feel comfortable saying, okay, it's not all, as Julia will talk about in her talk, highlight reel. It's not all, this perfection, as Brian, you talk about perfection of fairy tale. There's power in knowing that we can have those moments that can be part of our story, but it's not the end of our story. And it's not to share it to say everybody feel bad for me. It's everybody to share like, we're here with you. Here's how we've really done the dang thing. And I want to show you how to get there, because this matters for your business. This matters for your life. It's all connected. And this is all pivotal in moving you through to be a sustainable long-term business, and being able to pivot or even just not drown today, And Mike, you're talking even about what's coming in the future with the real unfiltered. Maybe you can talk about your interview that you're doing.
Yeah. No, I'm, always excited to kind of dig into the details with some of these panels. And so, in the past, it has been like pulling some of the stories out from the small businesses. I mean, Sarah Anderson with the cupcake, her cupcake business, then, you just hear some of those. So you're hearing like real, examples from small businesses you can relate to, not something Fortune 500, kind of thing or whatever that you're like, no, that's not us kind of thing. But, and then, this year you've been able to do this with young adults. I mean, our businesses, small businesses, particularly in tune with how, young adults are operating online today. Are they familiar with, apps like, Depop? And are they aware of how influencers are young adult, are really connected to influencers on Instagram, for instance, and how they're making shopping decisions based on Instagram stories, out of that. And so being able to kind of pull that out of them and have them share experiences. This is what I do. This is where I shop. This is the last place I bought from, and kind of, see some minds go, wow, okay. Got to be thinking about some of those things. Might have to try some experimentation with some of those pieces. So I think the future of, app commerce and all those types of things, where they're spending time and how they're making purchases, will be eye-opening. And and so for small businesses to be aware of, okay, what do I need to check out? What do I need to look at? What do I need to, follow, just kind of pay attention to?
Yeah, you're so right on. And Brian, I think people are going to really enjoy your talk too, because you're talking about, the future too. So like Unfiltered, again, like it's dark social related, which dark social, for anybody that hasn't heard this definition, means the conversations that are happening in private niche communities, whether text messaging, email. So some of the things that, aren't new, but also tools like Discord and, Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces, or conversations that when we're talking about something, we're all talking about 50 Strong right here, right? So if people went and clicked on 50 Strong, it's going to look just like direct traffic, but that direct traffic came as a result of something. Even if we were sharing it in a private, in our Facebook group or whatever, there's a link related, it's still going to look like direct traffic because they can't attribute it unless they're part of that group. So they don't know how to measure or to understand, where should I invest my time, because I don't know where it's coming from. I know it's coming, but I don't know where it's coming from. So it's a good thing if people are going there, but it could be a bad thing if they're not, or if they're going to something to maybe unsubscribe or something you don't know, because the biggest message to get out of this is that you don't own the brand anymore. Perception. I hate to say it that way. You own the culture that you have, the core. Like that's the only thing you can control is the core, who you are, because from there, that's going to be who you're attracting. That's going to be the team members that are coming to you, the types of clients. And from there, the experience that you're bringing and providing, that's the messaging that's going to be distributed. The only one that's believable anyway. So that's something to really stop and pause and think about, because then some of these other tools are like, how do you get invited to the conversation or facilitate it? And Brian, maybe you can talk a little bit more about kind of your talk and what you'll be sharing.
Yeah, no, I think some of those things that you guys hit on right there, I think are essential, right? And I'm on a mission. I do not want authenticity, transparency, vulnerability become buzzwords. And when someone says, how do we prevent them from becoming buzzwords? The answer is you go to an event like this and you get more examples of ways that you can actually talk about how these things showed up and they worked, right? Like they become buzzwords when we can't actually back up with examples other than, random unicorn stories that happen to be, success, or like we use words like Apple or Uber or Gary Vaynerchuk. Like, give me a break. That doesn't prove to me as a small business owner or as an entrepreneur. But if you're able to connect dots, like you mentioned 50 Strong, like, X Stand. I love what, Jen Cole and them are doing. I think there's something beautiful about those, connecting those dots. And I think, with dark social, like one of the, this is a perfect example too, like what's the ROI of attending an event, right? On, on your own dime? Well, 50 Strong and the team that went there, like how many years later are they getting residual reach, residual love, and these are things that, when we're thinking about, hey, there's data tracking everything. Yes, that's a beautiful thing. But I look at like the futurist mindset, right? Like how do we switch our mindset? Our mindset has to be about positioning ourselves in these places, in these arenas, testing out these different mediums, not because the ROI might be trackable today, not because, hey, we know that it's gonna have this many impressions, but ultimately setting ourselves up for when things, evolve, things pivot. Let's hope there's no more, pause buttons, which is what we saw last year. But I think a lot of being future ready has to be about, it's less about being everywhere. It's less about being on all the tools, but it's more about embracing the opportunity that you can have that might pay off in ways that you would have never imagined. But also at the same time, like, there is this state of I firmly believe this, I preached it at your event many years ago, but like, if you still believe that you're going to let your work do the talking for you, you're going to be out of business very soon. And I'm sorry. And I feel for the businesses that are not going to get that message, because the social, digital, dark social have given us the opportunity to sell unicorns, rainbows, BS, to drown you out, your competitors to steal your AdWords. And if you're waiting to let your work do the talking for you, you're done. It's unfortunate. But if you're willing to embrace, to put yourself out there, to own the story, own the message, be willing to try out new things, try out new ways of getting things out there, that's the brands that are going to succeed. That's how they're going to stand out. That's how they're going to go, you know, those things. And I think that's where, you know, for me, even the event itself, right? Hearing, like, what was the popcorn that I remember, the
Shirley's popcorn. They'll be back.
Yes. See, that's going. You want to know what's worth attending? I mean, I'm not even a popcorn fan.
Yeah.
This is. So I was talking to my daughters this morning, and they were laughing because I was talking about going to Ohio, and they of course know you, Jessika, from you know, showing pictures and connecting. And I was like, my youngest one, Logan, loves popcorn, and I was like, this is the place I love popcorn. She goes, this is the place you ate like 2 bags in a day and your stomach hurt, Daddy. I was like, and I'm gonna do it again. I was like, I'm gonna do it again, right? So like that, like those kind of things alone, I think this is the beautiful, you know, relationship marketing, you know, where we all kind of align. I think there is something beautiful about where we're moving forward, is the brands that are willing to invest and be themselves, the brands that are willing to have that element of, we're going to show up, you know, where our fans are and have the conversations. They're going to succeed. They might not see the data today, but they're going to succeed. And I'm ready to eat some of that popcorn.
Amen to that. And you know what's cool about that too, is that people will rally behind the passion and the vision. I think 2020 taught us that too, right? Like, even though media, you know, they try to let the work speak for them, if you will. But we are a media company, every single one of us, honestly. If you look at it and you see how these messages kind of gain traction in 2020, and people are sharing what's the truth, right? And how they're feeling about brands. And Shirley's popcorn, for example, they're amazing. And, you know, they are very intelligent in how they approach things. It's not just about them and their popcorn. They let you co-create with them to make your version of popcorn. So they'll let you do your branding colors, that let you say, do you want nuts in there? Do you want it to be sweeter, spicy, you know, cheesy? What do you want? And co-creating is the name of the game in the future. So we have to embrace, again, like, you don't own that. It's not just your work. It's like co-creating. Kathy Hackle talked about this last week on Magnet Marketers about the metaverse. That's what we're moving into. It's that it can't just all be us and we own it, and we own it so tight that we're going to control it, and that's going to be the only narrative. No, you have to embrace and bring your community in to co-create with you. And that's where the beauty happens, because people know the real and they'll get passionate and stand behind the brand. So I'm not going to go down this rabbit trail, but I do want to share something that just happened this week. That I was debating on sharing, but I'm going to share it anyway. That yesterday we went to a press release, and one of the team members did, and it was to talk about Social Media Week Lima. And we've had a hard time, unfortunately, with media coming out and supporting this event, which is really unfortunate, because this is made for the small businesses in our community. We really want to help them grow, including, you know, bringing the media in to help. They spoke one of the very first years. And unfortunately, we were told, like, they don't want to cover us and they won't cover us because they see us as competition. And that's really sad to me. So they didn't cover us yesterday. They didn't include us in the media press release, even though it was at the chamber and that's what it's supposed to be for. They won't show up to our event and they won't push it out. And that's really sad, you know, because then who loses in that is the small businesses. So that's why we're asking our community, like, share this message out, because more businesses do need to know about it. And we're here to help. We don't make money off this event. We're not competing. I mean, there's not competition, right? There's enough work for everyone. And that's the kind of mindset, though, that really ends up hurting the customer at the end of the day. It's like taking on some of those things that you know you really can't do the best job for, maybe, or just cheering each other on. Like, we bring in other businesses there that are agencies. That's who we're featuring, because we know that they have something to share that is of value, and people are going to choose them because they are the right people to work for. They're choosing us, and we have stake in our clients to know that they're going to stick with us, hopefully, if we're doing right by them. But you can't block the exit. You can't hold on so tight to something that you think you have this control. It's phony. It's fake. It does not exist anymore. So you need to get over it. But that's really unfortunate. And that really was something that, we've kind of sat quiet about for many years, and I was hoping it'd be different by now, but it is what it is. Unfortunate. We got, validation of that's really what's happening from people that were there, but that's okay. We're going to keep pushing for it anyway, and know that our community is going to show up strong like they always do.
Yeah, it's a tremendous event when you just think about the people, the breadth of people you're bringing in from all over the U.S. and extended to Lima, Ohio, to Resource. Anyone that's coming, from that area. I know the bulk coming from Ohio, but you have people coming in further and further all the time now. So you got
lots of people from
coming in California.
Texas,
there you go,
Arizona, everywhere. Yeah,
and I think that's. It's just powerful what you've been able to do there. And I think I don't want to, shortchange the kind of the uniqueness of the event, kind of like that, the VIP kind of opportunities. So there's somebody speaking, but then you have a chance to maybe, sit down with them later that evening and talk and hang out over some of the, events still going on. And that's powerful. That's rare.
And I'll tell you, I love, our speaker friends. I'm more looking forward to the people in Ohio that I get to see every year. Like, no offense to any of our speaker friends, but I feel like those are the people that I'm going to get hugs and, catch up on their business and things that they're doing. And that's like, that to me is the beauty, right? And the fact that media today still does not have an abundance mindset, and they approach something in that manner, to me, is everything wrong, but everything right when it comes to social and digital, right? Like, they're threatened because they still haven't figured out how to do this right. The fact that they look at that as a threat is the reason that their social is not what their social is. Their
not just not covered. They won't let their team members come. They had to get their refund back.
Which is even more of like a sad shit, right? Like, wow. Like, we don't want you to grow, learn, or expand, right? And I think, and I think to me too, like, I think the thing with, events like this, where I think it's the rare part, right, is yes, we're, coming to Ohio, and, I remember that very first time I was driving, I calling you, I'm like, this can't be the right drive. Like, where in the world are we going? Like, I am not sure this is the right way. And now I look
the second cornfield to the left.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I'm like, all right, that railroad track I went over, and I go over. But I think that there's also something beautiful about, we talk about collaboration, we talk about community and co-creation, but I think the art of, how third-party validation is so undervalued when you think about, convincing someone to embrace something new or do something innovative. And the fact that you can go to an event like this and pick up use cases, pick up examples, stories, and ultimately go back to your media company, your agency, go back to the brand you're working with. And, I don't have to convince, like, if you go to this event, you shouldn't have to convince your boss by saying, believe me, we need to do this. When you go back to your boss, you go back and say, this brand did this and they got this example. This person talked about doing this, they got this example. Do you want the results that all of them have? Now come work with me, right? And like, that is the ROI, right? The ROI in I believe is, it's easy to hear when one person talks about it, or you believe like, oh my goodness, we need to be doing this. But when you're able to back it up with multiple use cases, and some of those, some of the people coming back year after year talking about, I did this, that worked. Then I took this example, did this, and that worked, right? Like, even just the idea that, like,
you have to listen to others. You can't. Sorry.
I just think it's so beautiful. I just think it's, I think that to me is the part of it. It's, connecting with people at like the truest sense. And I mean, I travel the world, right? I've been to 76 countries, and the brands that I'm mentioning, a lot of them are from Ohio, right? Like, and I grew up in Pittsburgh. Like, let's be real. Like, that's I mean, Pittsburgh and Ohio have a whole different love language there. But I think that is the beauty, right? It's the beauty of. It's why I look forward to coming back every year, because it is. I mean, I'm excited to hear stories from brands and people that I've been following, since the first year that I got to go, and I think that is something that you can't underestimate. And let's face it, that we were missing more so last year than we could have ever imagined. So, I mean, I love that we brought that up, because I think that to me is really cool.
And Jacqueline, I shared that story too of Beyond Laser at the beginning. Yeah, it's so powerful. And that's the key. Like, if you are so stubborn that when your business is not growing or it's depleting in business and revenue, but you're so stubborn that you can't open up to learn from someone else, then that's on you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that, but I want to be from the mindset of, I want to learn from others. Like, you've already learned that lesson. I would like to avoid it, and I'm going to listen to you. So thank you.
It's like saying, like, our
know,
way has not been working. We have more competition. Let's continue doing our way and not learn, even if we feel it as a competition. How are
yeah.
we not looking at it and saying, hey, let's make sure that we don't continue to be behind the 8 ball? And unfortunately, you can't help those that aren't willing to be helped, right? Like, there is an element.
Amen to that.
And won't we hear tons of, pivot stories this year in particular, coming out of just what we went through in 2020 and how businesses had to, forced to, but what they did.
Yeah, and that's what I want to share real quick, like this schedule. So the schedule, everything can be found at sociallima.com. I definitely wanted to talk about the power of just what's coming, but then what you can hear if you've not got your ticket to Social Media Week Lima. Definitely want to encourage it. 2 weeks away. You've heard kind of some of the feedback from people that have been here multiple years, and we'll be speaking this year as well. But our MC is Damian Ross, good friend. He's hilarious. Just had to talk with him about just the agenda overall. He will definitely get you awake and laughing the whole time. Then we'll be breaking down that Unfiltered a little bit more, doing that kickoff. Then we'll go to Brian, Future Ready, your business to be prepared for what's coming. And then our own Julia will be talking about how to be more human in social media in order to create those connections, everything we've been talking about. Then Jonte will be talking about marketing the new normal. This is about selling and only to your best clients, getting rid of those ones that are dragging you down with Craig. Then Mike's panel that he's talking about, our good friend Troy will be hosting a panel on with Christine Gritman, Jen Cole, and Jeff Howe on trust currency. This is all related. And then we'll be talking about laughing. We'll actually be doing some laughing with the Laughing Love Bugs. They've been on the show. They're amazing. They're my favorite. But what that has to do, everything with your business and why it matters, because it's definitely related. And then our own, our friend Chad, he's going to be talking about unscripted and creating the content that you didn't know you had, creating content. Like that, sometimes that's the biggest struggle. What do I talk about? Then Allie Boyd, she's been on here as well. Unfiltered Business, how to make a big impact in a small business, with a small business. Unfiltered Momentum with Candace Denise. I'm a fangirl of hers. She's going to be talking about the creative process. There's going to be lots of networking and connecting with others, both the speakers, the sponsors, the attendees. Unfiltered Leadership will be another panel hosted by Sarah Kelsey. She's a Ohio small business that had a huge pivot she had to do. She creates these rhinestone lip gloss is the name of her business. She creates these beautiful earrings. I actually had them on last year, the second day with Skorotsky. I'm going to say the name wrong. I probably jacked up their name, but it doesn't matter because they did her wrong. They told her that they no longer wanted to supply the crystals that she used for small businesses. They are only going to be working with Tiffany's. So all of her product, what she uses to literally run her business, was gone in an instant. And she had to survive. She's going to be talking to sharing her story a little bit too. There, not just on the panel, but what do you do when those kinds of situations happen? Do you just fold? Like, what do you do? Talk about a good use case, right? There's going to be Julie Riley, Jen Watson, Bella Vasta on there. And then one of our favorites, Angus, answers to top marketing questions. He's going to be talking about that. He's always just brings us to Marketing Church. I'm just saying. Day 2 is going to be Mark Boker. He's going to be talking about how to take care of yourself. We got to learn that lesson. And he has a powerful story on what he did when his body just shut down on him. How did he run a business? How did he keep growing? You get burnout or just something physical that happens to you that you can't avoid. And then it's going to go to Judy. She's going to be talking about voice that's been growing in marketing. Andy Christina, super smart SEO, talking about how to get found in the world, sea of samesies, basically. Jen Watson is going to be talking about, video tips. She's an Emmy award-winning broadcaster. We all love Jen. She's going to be sharing what she does there and how you can do it too with video. Then Jamie Cohen, Unfiltered LinkedIn Messaging, how to capture and grow your connections on LinkedIn. Then our new team member, Joanna, she's amazing, brilliant ad strategist. She'll be talking about the real advantage for Facebook ads. Byron's going to be talking about maximizing your content creation efforts. Bree, I know she's a good friend of yours, Brian. I can't wait to meet her in real life. The social media glass ball with analytics. We're going to do some more networking. And then you're going to have expert-led table talk. So getting one-to-one, like really small groups with some experts. like Jim Few's going to be there. We have several of the people that are in here. Jeff Howell's going to be doing a table talk. Mike, I think you're doing a table talk as well. We have several of the people that are doing table talks that are also going to be on stage as well. I'm just really excited for everyone. Tim Sohn's going to be doing a table talk. Gail's going to be doing table talk on speaking or creating your story, so you can learn more about all the speakers here. But these are people that are doing the action, doing the work. It's not just all talk. They're in it, doing it. So yay, I'm excited.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this might be your best lineup yet. No offense to the previous years, but
I know, right?
I think the more I look at the dynamic voices too, also voices that maybe you might not going to hear at other events because they like to tout out the same old, talking about the same old, out of touch, same old. So I think that's a beauty, right? As you're sharing that, like Allie Boyd, I love her messaging and some of the things that she's shared on social. I shared directly with people in my world, being like, yeah, this isn't the same approach that we've heard from others, right? And like, it's cool. I'm really looking forward to it. I get lucky. I get right after you, Jessika, started off, and then I get to enjoy the rest of it. So, I think last couple of years I was more towards the last day at the end. So I feel like this time it's me a little bit more different approach, and I'm excited to be there for both days, and it'll be a lot of fun.
I'm so pumped. I can't wait to see all of you guys. Again, I wasn't trying to use this just as a promo time, but really, I do want to promote it because I'm proud of this event. I'm proud of the people that are coming and willing to donate their time, which is that thing you can't get back, to give to this community. And it's because of the stories that we hear that come out of it from the people that really take the time to apply and listen and to share what the real and to get the lessons out of preparing for what's to come, what's here right now, and to make sure that their business stays here in the future. They can get past that 2020, they can keep growing. And if you can do that, you can, you're unstoppable, right? So,
and like you cover, and all the mediums are covered. Like, I think for those that are thinking about this, not only just the event, but you think about your strategy for, let's just say, as we reinvent the future, right? We're not going back, we're reinventing. I think we have to relook. One of my soapboxes, and this will be my call to action for everyone attending. I see a lot of familiar faces there. And I think the call to action for me is, we have to ask ourselves the same questions we've answered previously, but we have to ask them again in 2021. Like, right, what's the value of video, right? I know Jennifer's talking about video. She's over at Active Campaign now, and the cool things she's done there, even with what she did at Agora Pulse, right? Like, I think there's something to be said about your video strategy. Yes, you might have done something different previously, right? But like, you need to ask yourself again, like, where's my video strategy moving forward in 2021? Like, how am I approaching audio with smart speakers, Clubhouse, social audio? And even if you don't want to be on those platforms, what is working on those platforms that you can then incorporate into your business, right? I would argue you could attend Judy Fox's talk on audio, and you could write a better email newsletter. Like, that's where I would go with this, right? Because you're gonna understand what intimate things are existing in social audio that can connect.
The technique, not the tools. That's what we say all the time.
That's what excites me.
It's the technique.
It'll be fun.
As soon as you get the technique down on how you're approaching things, it doesn't matter where you take it. Like, that's the reason why we don't have every single thing. Like, here's how to learn Facebook. Here's how to learn whatever. Like, no, don't get me wrong. We have that table talks where you can literally ask your question one-on-one. Because if you have one of those questions, go talk to an expert. That's what that's about. But if we're going to spend 30 minutes talking to you and telling you what's working, I want you to know, like, what's working that you could apply to any tool that you're applying it to, right? I love that you said that, Brian, because that's exactly the point. It's because the tools are going to come and go, It's going to be here today, gone tomorrow. And so we don't spend our time talking about that one tool. It's about how you're approaching it. Because then once you get it, once it clicks, you're like, oh yeah, newsletter, audio, club, whatever you're going to show up and do, what the MO is and how to build that strategy around it. So share this out. Will you give the ticket away too? I know we're running up on time. I'm going to leave it you two to say your last final things and then close it out.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, no, I think that, hey, if they haven't, hopefully they get their ticket and they come. Just looking forward to this. I think there's a specialness to this event this time around just because the inability to have it last year. And so, it's like popping the cork, and it's ready to explode. So come ready for some fireworks, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think, I've preached for a long while that, social, digital, nothing replaces a handshake, right? And so I'm a big fan of hugs and selfies. And I think that's the beauty of events like this. I see Megan Powers saying she's coming for
there she is.
coming for the popcorn. Yeah, I love it. I love all this popcorns. See, look at that. You never know what's gonna jump out. And I also think it's fun. It's fun to see how people are going to approach some different things as well, right? And for those in my session, I'm going to include something that I haven't done before as far as my creator coin and what I'm doing in this kind of new creator economy. And so everyone that's joining my session, you're going to get something free, something kind of tip your toe into this creator world, give you a little bit of super powered coin. So I'll have some fun with that as well. And even using the QR code, which I know is going to be part of the swag as well. I think what is old is new. What is new, we have to kind of reinvent. But I think Unfiltered is a perfect example. And Jessika, I have been a super fan of yours and being able to see the event grow and that community that you've served and you've built. And I would argue, I know that there's probably many that are going to attend the event that will back it up, but I know without even having to ask them that many of their businesses are still around this year because they were able to learn from you before something like a pandemic happened. So you are world class, my friend. So
thank you.
Just coming out to hang out with you is always a win for me. So I can't wait. I will be there with bells on. Come over, say hi. If I'm talking, you have to interrupt me or I don't shut up. So for everyone that's there, you get permission to interrupt and say hi, and let's do it. Let's have some fun.
I love that you're co-creating in your presentation, because I do want to throw this out there. Tomorrow, something's coming too. So you want to check out the Now Marketing Group Instagram. We're going to be doing a co-creation kind of new launch that we want to hear from you. Brian's going to be kicking things off, but you are part of this co-creation because this is what it's going to be about. And you definitely want to respond, because there's going to be a fun unveiling for those that participate in Lima. So I'm just going to throw that little sneak peek out there, leave it a little cryptic. I'm just saying.
Participate. Everybody but Chad. Right? Everybody but Chad can participate, right? Chad's
yeah. You can chat. You can type recap in the comments here. We'll make sure you get all the notes and all the deets on that tomorrow as we publish this out. But also share this out. We will be picking a winner tomorrow afternoon for anyone that does participate, because we're not going to let the media keep us down. We want to be friends with them, but hey, if they want to, block it, unfortunately, we'll go ahead and share it out anyway. And much love to them. That's all I want to give out. Hopefully they let their team come, because I really do want them to stick around too, because what's good for the community is good for everyone. So hopefully they can always soften their hearts a little bit and share the good. But I hope to see all of you there. I can't wait to see everyone that's already signed up. If you're not, please visit sociallima.com. Consider coming this year. Consider joining the community. Our goal is to help you love more, give more, and be more through the art of authentic relating, so you can grow that sustainable long-term brand. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Thanks, Brian, for your time as well. And Mike, as always. And to all of you, I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. We'll talk soon.
See you on Instagram. See you on Instagram.
See you on the gram.